Hello and welcome back to Whether or Not. I'm your host, Jonathan Domow, joined by our forecaster, Rebecca Newell. And Rebecca, it has been rainy, albeit it seems like those spring-like conditions are sticking.
Yeah, it has been a bit rainy this week, and that wet pattern is expected to continue, but luckily, so is the warmth.
That's fantastic news, and we'll hear more about that from Rebecca in just a little bit. But first, here's Nature in the News.
Arctic sea ice has just tied its lowest winter peak ever recorded, during the time of the year when ice is supposed to be growing. This year's maximum coverage came in at about 5.5 million square miles. That's more than 500,000 square miles below average, roughly the size of Texas. And this isn't an isolated event. It's part of a long-term trend. Arctic sea ice has been steadily declining for decades as the planet warms, with the polar region heating up faster than the rest of the globe. Warmer air limits how much ice can form during the winter season, so even at its yearly peak, there's less ice. This also creates a feedback loop. With less bright, reflective ice, the darker ocean absorbs more sunlight, trapping additional heat and making it even harder for ice to regrow. What happens in the Arctic doesn't stay in the Arctic either. These record lows can influence weather patterns far beyond the polar regions.
Winds from Tropical Cyclone Newell battered the land down under, leading to the occurrence of a rare meteorological phenomenon last week. As dust is kicked up as a result of the cyclone-force winds, the sky takes on an eerie red hue and creates a scene straight out of a science fiction movie. The exact reason for why the dust makes the sky red has to do with the soil undergoing the process of oxidation. As rocks begin to rust under certain conditions, it gives the soil a red color, thus transforming the environment into a sea of red when the dust enters the air. The name of this phenomenon is scattering. The sky can also turn red during wildfires, which happened here in the U.S. back in September of 2020 during wildfires in California. Newell has since been downgraded from its tropical cyclone status last weekend as its wind speeds began to taper off.
Last week, deadly flooding triggered landslides in multiple countries in East Africa. In southern Tanzania, at least 20 people were killed after heavy rain and strong winds resulted in landslides that destroyed homes in the Mbeya region. And this is part of a larger regional crisis. Neighboring country Kenya has seen 88 deaths from flooding, with rivers overflowing into dozens of communities since the heavy rains began in early March. East Africa has 2 monsoon seasons, with March through May known as its long rains season. But in recent years, these rainy seasons have been trending more intense than usual. This above-average rainfall across the region increases the risk of flooding and landslides. When repeated rounds of heavy rain saturate the ground, soils become fully waterlogged, and landslides become more easily triggered, especially in the hilly terrain found across East Africa. With their monsoon season not even halfway through, those in high-risk areas have been urged to seek safer ground until the rains subside.
3 brand new cutting-edge mobile radars joined NOAA's National Severe Storms Laboratory fleet last Monday. These radar trucks are able to capture research-grade data through the deployment of research-grade technology. NOAA can use these mobile radars to look at tornadoes, wildfires, and other severe storms to help better their understanding of these intense weather events. Scientists will benefit from the truck's ability to rapidly deploy, meaning researchers can set up in closer proximity to where the weather is actually happening. The addition of these 3 vehicles strengthens the Severe Storms Laboratory already extensive observing vehicle fleet and will be a game changer in gathering critical weather data as it happens in real time. With the help of these new state-of-the-art vehicles, NOAA will be able to better forecast weather events that impact property and people's lives.
We've had a bit of a wet pattern this week, and that's not going to change heading into this weekend. But I'm fine with a few raindrops if it means we're going to be warm, and that is exactly what we're expecting to see. On Friday, we do have a disturbance up to the north over the Great Plains, and that's going to be bringing warmth and cloudiness to much of the New England region, but over State College, we are only expecting a few showers here or there in terms of precipitation. But that warmth is luckily going to be so great that it's almost going to be challenging records. We're going to be near 80 on Friday and near 81 on Saturday, and that is a temperature we haven't seen since 1910. So if it gets warmer than 81 degrees on Saturday, we'll be breaking the record high for that day. Now, that warmth is something that is needed to produce thunderstorms, and this warmth is going to be all across the Midwest and as well as here, as I mentioned. And that is why we're going to be seeing so many storms over the Midwest along with this region. We have lift from the fronts, and that's going to be lifting that warm, moist air and causing the potential for storms in that region. But again, on Saturday, over here in State College, we're actually only going to be seeing partly cloudy skies with the potential for a stray pop-up thunderstorm or shower here or there. As we head into your Sunday morning, that is when we have the greatest chance for storms and more heavy rain, and luckily that's only going to be in the morning. Once that cold front passes through, the chance for rain is going to be very, very slight. Most of the rain is going to be coming through in the morning, and then it's going to dry up. It's going to become much breezier, much chillier, and even sunny over in the Midwest region. Now, we're going to be seeing those breezy conditions because the air pressure is going to rise behind that front, and it's going to be chilly behind that front. There's cold air behind cold fronts, and the combination of those two is going to make it a bit chillier on your Easter Sunday. Now, for a quick weekend recap, we have a high of 78 on Friday with scattered showers and overcast conditions. Friday night, we have a low of 58 with, again, some more scattered showers as you head into your Saturday, where we have partly cloudy skies with a high of around 80 degrees. If it gets up to a few degrees more, 82, that would mean we break that record high for that day. Saturday night into your Easter Sunday, that cold front is going to be passing through, increasing the chance for rain in the morning, and your high is actually going to be in the morning on your Easter Sunday. And as you head throughout the day, that temperature is going to steadily decrease, with your high in the morning being just 60 degrees. Now here's your feature on baseball weather from Frank.
Major League Baseball kicked off last week with teams hitting the field looking to become world champions. The season officially started March 26th and will last all the way through mid-November, concluding with the World Series. As the spring and summer months heat up, so will the bats. Weather is a big factor in baseball, from rain canceling games, winds affecting fly balls, and heat making the balls fly farther. Weather can impact the score of any game. But just how much does the weather really matter? Let's start with temperature. Research shows that for every 10-degree increase in temperature, fly balls can travel several additional feet. That might not sound like much, but in Major League parks, a few extra feet can be the difference between a warning track out and a home run. Warmer air is less dense, which reduces drag on the baseball and allows it to carry further. In fact, a ball travels 16 feet further in temperatures of 90 degrees compared to 50 degrees. It is found that every 1 degree Celsius increase led to a 1.96% rise in home runs per game. Cold weather does the exact opposite. Denser air increases resistance, which suppresses offense. But it's not just the balls, players are affected too. Hitters can lose bat speed in colder conditions, and pitchers may struggle with grip and flexibility, which can impact both velocity and control. Wind, on the other hand, is one of the most noticeable weather factors. A strong wind blowing out to the outfield can add 10 to 20 or more feet to a fly ball, dramatically increasing home run potential. On the flip side, a wind blowing in can completely shut down power hitting. Some stadiums, like Wrigley Field in Chicago, are famous for this, where the same lineup can score 12 runs one day and just 2 the next day, depending almost entirely on wind direction. Another factor is humidity, which is often misunderstood. While humid air is actually less dense and can help the ball travel further, the baseball itself can absorb moisture from the air. That makes it slightly heavier and less elastic, which can reduce exit velocity off the bat. That's why some teams store baseballs and climate controls humidifiers to keep conditions consistent, balancing out these effects. Air pressure and elevation also play a major role. At higher elevations, like in Denver, the air is thinner, meaning significantly less resistance on the ball. That's why the Colorado Rockies' home games are known for higher scoring and more home runs. In fact, baseballs can travel noticeably farther there compared to sea-level stadiums. Another underrated factor is sunlight. During day games, especially in the summer, glare can impact fielders trying to track fly balls. Outfielders often have to adjust positioning or rely on sunglasses to compensate, which can influence defensive performance. And finally, there's rain. Even light rain can slow down ground balls on the infield, changing how quickly plays develop. Wet conditions can also make the ball slick, giving pitchers less control and sometimes leading to more walks or mistakes over the plate. Rain can also unfortunately cancel games, leading to rescheduling later in the season or a doubleheader the next day. All of this adds up to one big takeaway. Weather can directly influence strategy in baseball games. Teams may adjust pitching decisions, defensive alignments, and even batting approaches based on a forecast. A windy day blowing out might encourage hitters to swing for more power, while a cold, dense air game might favor small ball tactics like bunting and base running. So the next time you're watching or attending a game, take a look at the weather and forecast at the stadium. Because in America's favorite pastime, weather could be a deciding factor on whether or not your favorite team wins or loses. For Whether or Not, I'm Frank Gargione.
This weekend may not be great for baseball weather, but your next week surely will. Here's a quick weekend recap for your Easter weekend. Friday is going to be warm with a high of 78 and a low of 58, where your biggest concern is a few scattered showers and maybe a pop-up thunderstorm here or there. But overall, just overcast. Saturday, your cloud cover lightens up just a little bit to mostly sunny conditions with a high of 80 degrees and a low of 52. Again, with a slight chance for a scattered shower or pop-up thunderstorm, but your highest chance for storms and rain is going to be overnight Saturday into Sunday, where we have a cold front passing through in the morning, where your high is going to be 60, and then throughout the day on Easter, your Easter Sunday, it's going to just decrease in temperature, and overnight, we're almost going to get back to freezing. And that leads us into your next week. As we head into Monday, we have a high of only 48. Again, our low is near freezing Monday morning. Tuesday, it's going to be even cooler, and it's going to be a high of around 48. Wednesday, we do see a bit of a warm-up trend as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But overall, even though it's going to be a bit on the chillier side, especially towards the beginning of the week, we do have the mostly sunny or even fully sunny conditions throughout Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, we do see a bit of a pickup in that cloud cover. But again, we finally push past average once again later into the week. So we do have a clear up. We do have a cool down at the beginning of the week. But again, conditions start to look up as we head into Friday. So no worries if you have any concerns about that cold weather sticking around, because again, it's going to warm up. You can start planning things and it's going to be great. And now here's your Weather Whiz quiz answer.
And the answer is D, extreme. That is not one of the Storm Prediction Center's risk categorizations.
Right, and along with enhanced, moderate, and slight, there is the lesser risk factor, marginal, and the highest risk, a 5 out of 5 risk, high. And as we head into severe weather season, the summer and spring months, the SPC is going to be issuing these risks far more often.
Absolutely, Rebecca. It'll be interesting to see how severe weather pans out right here in Pennsylvania. That's all the time we have for today. Join us again next week for another episode of Whether or Not.